Welcome everybody to another episode of Tennis Channel Inside In on the Tennis Channel Podcast Network. Mitch Michals here from our Santa Monica studios, and our guest this week is considered now an American tennis pillar in the game. It's been an establishing couple of years, reaching new heights the last two seasons. I last spoke with this guest during her quarantine in the Australian Open in 2021, which she then went on to make the final, a U.S. Open semifinalist, a national champion at UCLA. From Harrisburg, PA, Jen Brady, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Geez, it's been over a year since we last chatted.
Over a year, and you started the full TV gambit, which we're going to get into. Started hot on Valentine's Day, thriving in your own words too. Well, we're going to get right into it. There's, we got video and audio for this. There'll be some references, but this was 1 year ago. This was 1 year ago in quarantine. Gosh. I think this is day 10 or 11 of quarantine. You're like ready to go?
Ready to go. Look at those flyaways. I probably just finished a 45-minute bike in the shower.
Just ready and starving. And the first question is, did you get that steak you were talking about?
You know what? I most definitely did. The first day out of quarantine, I went to Rockpool right across the street from the new hotel, and I got myself a bone-in ribeye.
Bone-in ribeye, the all-American girl, as you referred to yourself, and had to do it. Well, we can kind of start there because it was an incredible run. I mean, it started with just building some momentum the year before, and there it is, Australia. This is after the Makova match, which was a little dicey at the end. We were watching the game. It was about 15 solid minutes of trying to hold serve. But
oh, yeah. It was very dicey, as you said. I was so nervous. I was, like, pumping up the crowd, and then I went up to serve for match point, and my hands, my legs, my whole body was shaking. I was like, oh, my God, what am I doing? Why am I pumping them up?
So there was a moment in the lead-up, and it was ASHLEIGH Barty, someone you know very well and who's just crushing it right now, but she loses to Makova before. And I remember you got interviewed on another network. We won't say which one, but I remember it was like the mood change, and suddenly, oh, you're the highest seed left. Does that kind of like flip a switch in you? Like, oh crap, I'm in the driver's seat now. Like, this is a huge opportunity, because it did shake the tennis world when the top seed goes out.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, especially when the top seed is Ash Barty. I don't think anybody is super excited to see her name in the draw or think, okay, I have to face her in the semifinals, quarterfinals, whatever round it is, really. I think any other opponent is someone that you would love to see in the draw.
What did you think you learned going from the U.S. Open, making the semis, biggest breakthrough by far, another hard court major, the very next one? Is there something that you might have learned to kind of deal with going deep into these tournaments or handling your nerves?
Yeah, I think especially in that semifinal match against Makova in Australia, for me, just getting over that hurdle after losing to Naomi in the semifinals of the U.S. Open, just knowing, okay, I've established that I belong at this level, and I proved to myself that I belong at that level. And it was a trend. I made semis, and then I made finals, and the next is me holding the trophy. So
yeah, you beat a good friend in Pegula before. I love the camera messages. It was good, staying light, but we know it was a battle out there, and it was a really competitive match. And you mentioned it. I mean, there's the final.
Yep.
The runner-up trophy, but timing is everything in all this, because I know. We get into it. You've said on previous interviews that it wasn't your best match, probably wasn't her best match, but having to go against a generationally great player in a final locked in, you can only play the players in front of you. It's tough to have that challenge. It's tough to deal with it. And you fought admirably, but just wasn't meant to be on that night.
Yeah, most definitely. Like you said, I even said so myself. It wasn't the best match from either one of us, but going into that match, I had my doubts kind of going into it. Just mentally, I wasn't really feeling like I was ready to become a Grand Slam champion yet. But yeah, all credit to Naomi on that one.
Was it seeing the trophy out there? Was that the surreal moment?
Seeing the trophy, thinking about the media stuff afterwards, and this photo, I'm happy, but I'm also not happy. I'm like smirking.
It's impossible to sleep the night before a final, right? Like a Grand Slam final.
It's very hard. It's very, very hard, and it's very hard to sleep the night after you lose.
Yeah. It's still just a remarkable feat getting to a major final, like something you're going to be introduced as one the rest of your life, unless,
yeah, I would love to be a Grand Slam champion. I would love to be introduced as that.
So there's been a lot of talk about, playing in finals, playing matches, and I think a tennis player is like learning how to play when you're not at your best. is that something you can take forward from that match of ways to kind of, struggle to get through? Something like Serena Williams, who has won a lot of matches not playing her best. Is that a lesson that you can kind of take from?
Yeah, I think that's just a lesson that you kind of learn and you develop over just multiple matches of experience. I mean, it takes experience to know, okay, I don't have to play my best tennis in order to win this match, but you just have to stay strong and find a way and compete.
Well, I had one other thing for you, and it's crazy. You guys were in the finals, just the last Naomi thing. You're in the finals of the Australian Open, and then within the end of the year, this photo from playing ping pong at a party shows
Kelly
up.
Wersler's house.
So, yes, so it's a Racket magazine, Kelly Wersler, famous designer, and I'm like, this is kind of, maybe it was just me or the tennis people reacting. Like, you have two girls in a major final that are playing back-to-back ping pong at this event. So the first question is, did you actually play her, Naomi, in this one?
No, I did not play Naomi in ping pong. She just stuck with her sister and the rest of her team. But yeah, that's actually hilarious. I know when I walked in, I saw her. We hugged and we chatted real quick. But yeah, that is funny.
Looked like a pretty fun event. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, most definitely. It was really fun. It was a cool little thing.
Yeah, reaping the rewards of making it to the
definitely.
final.
I was like, if I didn't make the finals, I probably wouldn't have been invited. So.
Well, hey, you know what? You earned it. That's the lesson of that story is work hard out there, kids.
Yeah.
The last match you played as we record this now was in Cincinnati against Ostapenko, and getting to that point and obviously dealing with injuries. Did you know something was kind of something wrong, something hurt for a while before? Because I know you skipped Wimbledon, played the Olympics. Was there something lingering going into that?
Yeah, there was. It was my foot. I was struggling with plantar fasciitis, bone bruising, all that. And then in that Ostapenko match, I ended up actually tearing my plantar fascia. So that's why I ended up retiring.
I know it's tough to kind of look back. You're still, active athlete, but in the moment, did you feel that like something was taken from you, that it was, you worked so hard to get to where you were, career high, all these nice things are happening, and then the injury bug hits?
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. Just really bad timing. But it is what it is, and I think some things happen for a reason, and I've been able to spend some time out here in LA because of it. I mean, obviously I would rather be on court, but soon, I'll be back out there soon and I'll come back.
So what types of stuff are you, like this new downtime? Like I know UCLA basketball games, doing TV work. Are you like knitting or some other hobby?
Oh my gosh,
surfing?
No, I do not have the patience for knitting.
No.
I wish I could be surfing. I would love to be surfing, hiking, biking, just living it up on the beach. But because of my injury, I can't do all of those things. So I've had a lot of downtime, just like chilling out. But being here at Tennis Channel this week, I've realized, okay, I belong on the tennis court. This, the real world isn't really, I'm not ready for that yet.
Still a lot of time to play on the tennis court, but it's nice to keep your options open. Is there like a tournament that you have some FOMO with, like you're missing out? Is there stops that you haven't been able to make on this run that you're like, man, I wish I could have gone to that event?
Oh yeah, I love going to Australia. It's it's my personal favorite time of the year. I love everything about it. The food scene, just playing tennis there. I love hot weather, so I thrive in the heat. And I also really enjoy the Middle East, the Dubai, Doha tour. So really, really bummed to be missing that.
Those draws are insane, right? Like it's might be the best draw of the year.
Oh yeah, it's nuts. It's that in Stuttgart. You see those, and the last direct acceptance is like 40 in the world. So
there's like top 12 matchups in the first round. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
You got to be a fan too. I mean, I'm sure you were taking in the tennis when Nadal does his amazing thing, winning 21, and then ASHLEIGH Barty wins.
Oh yeah.
And you knew ASHLEIGH Barty before she was this Australian icon, like before she's going to get her statue made out.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, she was always going to get one. She's like the Vegemite queen as well. So yeah.
Playing with her, I mean, did you see something special? Like, I mean, you kind of alluded to it, but that this greatness could be unlocked playing with her, some doubles, and then seeing her before?
Most definitely. I mean, first of all, she is like the coolest cat out there. She is like so calm, cool, collected. She is so chill. Her team is great. Everything about her, like ASHLEIGH Barty is like one of my favorite tennis players just because of how she is as a person.
I'll bring this up in all transparency. I was at a match in Indian Wells a couple years ago. I think you might know which one. There was
Oh, yeah.
Jen Brady versus ASHLEIGH BARTY with, I think Allie Risk was in your players box.
She was. I can't, honestly, Allie told me she was going to come and I was like, yeah, right. And then I saw her out there and I was actually absolutely shocked.
It wasn't anything you did, honest opinion, not just saying that that was, her on her run. I think she won Miami that year and then French Open and then it just kind of took off.
Yeah, most definitely. But also it wasn't my greatest match. I was so nervous going into that.
Jen Brady here on Tennis Channel Inside In. Some more stuff to chat about with her. As we go forward, I mean, one of the other things that I liked was a Wimbledon final or was a Australian Open final more nervous, more nerve-wracking than the dance floor at Pegula's wedding?
Oh my! If Jess was here, she would tell you I definitely was not nervous on the dance floor.
Okay,
I found myself
right.
up on stage 3 times. It wasn't even my wedding. Yeah, I definitely had myself a time, and I mean, it was fun. There were other players there: Asa Muhammad, Taylor Townsend, Sam Crawford. Yeah, we definitely had a blast, and it was.
Let's look at the crew. There you go.
Oh, yep, here we go. Yep, it was epic. Yeah, completely sober in that picture. Yeah. That's for sure.
The bit more North Carolina. It's like the largest estate, I think. Personal residency.
Oh yeah.
Wedding looked great. I know Taylor's been on the air and talking about how an amazing time it was. But it is good to see the camaraderie factor. I mean, I keep saying this. I mentioned it before. The American girls specifically. Like you're from an era that it's all kind of progressed together, and you've each had different times making leaps and bounds, and have stayed pretty friendly throughout.
Yeah, well, for me especially, I've grown up with Taylor. I've grown up with Asia. I mean, Jess, I didn't know when I was younger, but over the past couple of years, I've gotten to know her really well. So even all the other American players, all of us, I speak for myself here, but I'm like genuinely happy to see them do well. But I think also we see each other doing so well, and then it just kind of fuels each of us.
Yeah, and not just the females, like the UCLA contingency. I had the chance to speak with both Mackie last year, Mackie McDonald, and then a couple months ago now, Garone.
Yeah.
And they gush about you because it's like one of their own, doing big things, the UCLA thing. Those two guys specifically having to work so hard to get to where they are. They definitely have that like inspiration thing. They're like, Jen's great, we love her, but it's like I want what she has. Maybe a little envy too.
Oh yeah, especially Mackie. Mackie is like, I want what you have, but more. He is like I think he's a little bit jealous, but and he's gonna hear that I said that, so I hope it fuels him even more.
Mackie was, he was another guy that every time it's like you watch him play, you watch him in individual matches, like this is a top 15 talent in the world. Like, sometimes like the Hatchinoff matches we recorded this week, like bigger players, stronger, it's tough at times, but his all court game is incredible.
Yeah, he's so fun to watch. The way he moves around the court, he's versatile. He comes in, he has unbelievable touch. Yeah, he can do everything. I
felt bad about Marcos though, because he was saying how he never played we were like, your toughest opponent. And he's like, oh, I haven't played, the big 3. I'd love to. And then he gets Rafa first round in Australia.
Oh, poor Marcos. Yeah. It's okay. He has bigger quads than Rafa.
There you go. See, always putting a positive spin on things.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about it too, the ranking situation. Is that something that concerns you? You got to career high number 13. With the injury and with missing time out of the top 100, is that something that you're conscious about, or is it just one step at a time in this rehabilitation?
It really is just one step at a time. I mean, it's definitely in the back of my mind, but it's not like, oh, wow. It is just watching it drop more and more each kind of week or month. But yeah, I'll have a protected ranking when I come back, so I'm lucky I have that. But it's not the end of the world.
And take advantage of that wild card situation too. The perks of
we'll see.
Well, I mean, they've given it to players that haven't accomplished as much as you, so I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah.
The summer of 2021, is when things started to kind of turn in one direction. But what was the Olympics experience like for you?
Oh wow,
the crew.
Yeah, that is one solid crew right there. That we had a hell of a time. We had a blast. I mean, everybody there. It was
everybody there wanted to be there, and that's the thing I wanted to get to, because you had to sacrifice so much. You take a break in the tennis season, and you go to Japan where there's a lot of restrictions, and it's a commitment. You're not getting paid, but everybody there wanted to be there. A lot of good friends in that photo.
Oh yeah, and unfortunately we weren't staying in the village, but we were staying in a hotel, and we were definitely treating ourselves. We were eating Wagyu beef and some good sushi every single night. So we definitely enjoyed ourselves in Tokyo.
I got one other. I mean, these guys. I mean,
These two clowns. I love these two. Look at that fit. I mean, people were staring at us because we were so American.
Really?
And we were, like, look what I'm wearing. I
always heard about
socks,
that.
It's
true.
We're definitely obnoxious, but it's America. God bless.
It's. I mean, Tommy's like, I think what was the caption? You said he thrives in bubble situations, so he's good.
Yeah. Oh man, both of them. I mean, Francis is such a clown. He's always cracking jokes. So yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard that before, and it's funny because unfortunately, Olympics didn't go your way. The Americans didn't do as good as they would have liked. And you got to think, maybe, I know it was Japan, but crowd support and, having to deal with this as long as you have now. Now we're getting fans back, but not having a crowd there to kind of feed off of was the unfortunate part of the Olympics.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. Just crickets in the stands, really, except for the coaches that were there. But, it's good to see people back in the stands filling up, and hopefully we can continue that trend.
So as we kind of continue on here on Tennis Channel Inside In with Jen Brady, health-wise, I know you mentioned that you're getting better. It's starting to healing. Is there certain, I'm always fascinated this with an athlete. What sort of health methods are you using to kind of nurse yourself back into shape?
Well, I'm not really able to do a whole lot right now. I've tried swimming and other things and had a little bit of difficulty with that. But just trying to stay in best shape as possible is very difficult when you're not really able to do any sort of cardio. But just, going to PT over there in Santa Monica at Elite Ortho Sport, and they're working on me pretty much every day. So,
Patience being the key, though, right?
Patience is the key, and I'm not good with that. This is like my first real major injury, and knock on wood, hopefully last, but the patience thing was really tough for me.
Would you change anything about, how hard you worked? I know it could be said like, maybe it was something there.
I would.
You would? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I think you kind of went a little too hard.
I definitely went overboard. Okay. That's a fact.
So there's a way to train smarter more than harder for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there is. Yes, you have to train hard, but you don't have to do the amount that I was doing. That's for sure.
Well, the good thing for you, not just tennis players, but there are tennis player examples, but there are the stories now with modern medicine and older athletes, much older than you, that have rebuilt themselves after major injuries. So the blueprint is there on the tennis court as well, if you come back at the right pace.
Yes. Yes. That's going to be the tough thing, is to take my time and come back when I'm ready and not try to rush too soon.
Well, I know you've got a lot of support across the tennis community as well, but now we're starting TV. And now we're on set.
With these two. Look at those two hunks.
those two hunks. Yeah, that's exactly how I describe it. Good teachers,
Prakash
though.
Flexing, for sure.
I was actually trying to find a picture of him not flexing.
It's impossible.
2 days of scrolling, and I couldn't find one.
Yeah, it's impossible.
But no, in all seriousness, like, you get two professionals that have done this before. Steve, a consummate TV guy. Prakash, who's made a transition from playing to being on the air. And you did this, like, diving in, like I mentioned, like you did one day during the Australian Open or 1 or 2 days, but this is a full week. So what's that slate been like, and getting ready and the hour of makeup and then prepping for matches and watching highlights?
It's tiring. I am going back and I'm just going straight to bed. I'm like so tired. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. And I did just dive right into it. When I came here during the Australian Open, it was more just sort of an interview about me talking to myself.
This is too funny.
Oh, yeah.
So Prakash walks by while we have the photo up on the thing.
But he's not flexing right now, so now is the time to take a photo.
No.
But, so it was definitely an eye-opening experience. I realized that it takes time to get used to it, to be on live set, to talk about matches and players and, all these tournaments that are going on at the same time. It's not easy.
The timing too, right? Because like you have, obviously the game and you break down the footage, you study it, but you have like a minute of a highlight to get your points articulated.
Yeah,
clearly.
it's tough to pick and choose what you want to say, and then you find yourself saying something you're like, oh, that's so repetitive, or somebody has already said that. So yeah, it's definitely something that will take some time and experience.
We hear a lot with the athletes too. It's like, I wish they wouldn't have said something this way, or words get stumbled. And then it's like the transition. Now I'm here and I stumble. It's like, oh, I feel so bad.
Yeah, I know. When I watch, sometimes I hear people saying stuff and I'm like, why do they always say that? And then I go out there and I say it and I'm like, well, it's just like the first thing that pops in your head, and you're just trying to make a point across.
So do you think you'll get maybe to calling matches at some point? Is that the
I
transition?
I don't know. I'll have to talk to someone else about that.
Get a catchphrase.
We'll see how
we'll
see how my
workshop some.
first week is, and then either this is my first and last, or just
Well, if you need a catchphrase, we can workshop some.
All right.
I don't know if we have any yet, but you just no, it's been a blast chatting with you, and I do hope that we get to see you back on the court soon. You trying to add anything to your game in this moment, or I mean, you don't have to tell me if it's secret. We can just cut this part.
I wish I was on court adding stuff to my game right now, but I think moving forward, I would love to be more of a. I mean, I am an all court player, but I would love to see myself finish more points up at net.
Mm-hmm. No, it makes sense, and I think that somebody that like you're in a position where, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you weren't that like fast track, fast ride to the top. Like you played college tennis, not even #1 singles, and you worked for everything that you had. So I think you're kind of built for being able to put the time in to get back and rebuild yourself. I think it might be tougher if it was someone that's been on the perch, their whole time.
Definitely. Yeah, so. I definitely, it wasn't just handed to me. I definitely worked my way up the system and, started, like you said, in college, and then worked my way top 100, top 50. And then, here we are today.
Before I let you go, any predictions for who wins these tournaments that you're all locked into?
Oh.
The women, and I mean, the women right now in Doha, it's like Ostapenko, Kudermetova, Halep, and Vondrousova are the finalists.
Yeah, my pick's Halep. I played her there in Dubai, and she got the best of me.
I didn't bring that one up.
Yeah, let me tell you, she was playing so good. I was also exhausted. I came through the qualifying, but anyways.
Well, what is it about her? I mean, she's been good for so long,
I just think that she's just so solid. Like she doesn't do anything spectacular, but she doesn't do anything wrong. Mm-hmm. So she's very solid, and she hits the right shot at the right time.
Okay. All right. Well, Ostapenko is kind of rebuilding herself now.
Yeah.
And Kudermetova is like very dangerous. She's up and down, and
she's a little bit streaky, but same with Ostapenko. She can be like 2017, I think, when she won Roland Garros, and then but it'll be interesting. The women's game is it's very competitive. Anybody can win at any week.
Any of these American men in Delray? I know you're friends with a bunch of them.
Yeah.
You make a pick or just kind of see how it goes?
I saw Marcos lost, but I would love to see Tommy Paul come out with a W there.
Yeah.
He lives not far away from there. So, I would love to see
Safe choice
Tommy.
going with the friend. Well, Jen Brady, this has been a pleasure. As I said, Australian Open finalist, announced the rest of your life. All-American girl, and more stakes and more TV in the future.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you for joining Tennis Channel Inside In.
Yeah, thanks a lot.